Lauren Southern was one of the very first people I ever covered on my channel in regards to reactionary, like, creators. And granted, my coverage of her back in the day was very bad. My rhetorical skills weren't nearly as good as they are now. Implying my rhetorical skills now are any good. And, you know, over time, I've gotten better at talking about these things, but around the time that I started becoming somewhat prevalent in political YouTube, Lauren Southern put out a video in which she announced that she was retiring from political activism on the internet, right? And, you know, going off to start her own family and do her own thing, and that was basically what she was doing. But, unfortunately, this video has been making the rounds. It's by Lauren Southern. Came out yesterday. Why I left and why I'm back. We got her here sporting brown hair. I would say it's a pretty big downgrade. I don't know. Maybe I just like blondes too much. Kind of a downgrade, in my humble opinion. Now, I haven't seen this video yet. I'm probably going to speed it up slightly because it's 17 minutes long. It's very, very long, and if I'm going to pause it a lot, we definitely want to speed it up a little. Lauren Southern is a white nationalist. She is the white nationalist. She is like, she is the one who mainstreamed a lot of white nationalists, like white genocide is happening, immigration is bad talking points that I had when I was a reactionary. I loved Lauren Southern. Granted, I was a 17-year-old Coomer white boy. That's probably a lot of the reasons why, but also, from my perspective, she made a lot of arguments as to why maybe we should cut off immigration. Maybe brown people are bad coming to white European nations, you know? And now she's back. And I can't stress this enough, alright? Lauren Southern is responsible for the alt-right radicalization of a shit ton of people. You could even say that she is quite responsible for the Christchurch shooting. Hey guys. Let's see, where can we find the Christchurch Shooters Manifesto? Here it is. Found it. So, this is the Christchurch Shooters Manifesto. It is called The Great Replacement. Towards a new society, we march forward, blah blah blah. In this manifesto, this is the manifesto of the guy, I forget what his name is. He murdered like 50 people in a synagogue last year, remember that shit? Pretty crazy, huh? This guy, I believe, mentions Lauren Southern, or at the very least, obviously, it's the title of the manifesto, and the contents of it is referencing the very topic that Lauren Southern popularized. I wouldn't say she did it exclusively, but she was a big part of that. Huge proponent of the Great Replacement white genocide thing. So, I think a lot of us celebrated when she decided to retire from the internet, but now she's back, and she's made a video. So, let's go ahead and watch it. I have no idea what to expect here. All I know is that PJW is like really, really triggered about it. There's like some weird high school drama going on with Lauren Southern and PJW on Twitter right now. It's like PJW messaged her like 15 times talking about how disappointed he was in her, and she's like, okay, it's really weird. I listen, it comes off to me as like some weird high school drama level shit. Not interested. Let's watch the video. I'm turning it up so you guys can hear it. It's a long one, so buckle up. Let's go.
Hey everyone, it's been a minute, and wow, things have...
I've sped the video up slightly. That's not what's doing this to the sound. She is in a very bad, like, she needs some sound foam or some furniture, or is she, like, recording this in a closet? I can hear the echo. Like, she needs some sound dampening or something like that. I know my sound isn't particularly great. It's mostly because I have, like, a weird filter on my microphone to block out my AC noise. But, yeah, oof. There's, like, this weird echo. It's kind of bothering me a little bit already.
Have really gone off the rails since I've been gone.
The World Health Organization has declared coronavirus a global
We begin today
pandemic.
with the US and Iran on the brink. Terrifying scale of Australia's bushfires.
Unemployment to its highest level since the Great Depression.
Overnight, Minneapolis on fire. Protesters leaving an...
good year to take off, I suppose. Seriously though, I hope you all have been keeping relatively safe and healthy throughout all of this chaos. Now, it's been just over 1 year since I stepped away from social media. Some of you may not have even noticed that I was gone. I dropped Borderless, left a small note, and dipped. And I suppose because I was so vague, I really left room for people
Video's a bit loud. Nice. There we go.
to impose their own narratives on my departure. A lot of things have been said about me since I left. Some far more slanderous than others, and I'm sure I'll address that at some point. However, I don't want to waste this video in particular mud wrestling with pigs, especially when you just get dirty and they just get happy. So instead, how about we talk about where I've actually been and what my actual motivation was for leaving politics? Well, firstly, I have some really exciting news that many
How much do you want to bet she's not going to bring up the fact that she took a huge part in inspiring a terrorist attack that resulted in the death of over 50 innocent people? How much do you want to bet she's not going to mention that? How much do you want to bet that she was glad that that attack happened? I'm pretty sure she was probably happy about it. Well, no, actually, I wouldn't say she was happy about it. She probably supported the message behind it, but these people are really big about optics, you know? You know how, like, Richard Spencer had his mental breakdown after, the Charlottesville rally? Because when that Nazi ran over that lady and killed her, that was, like, super, super bad optics for, the alt-right. Up until that point, the alt-right and, like, Richard Spencer were able to keep up a fairly believable facade of professionalism and respectability, but after that, a lot of that got blown away, and that was when things started to crack for them. That's when the mask started to crack, you know? Honestly, it was around the time of Charlottesville that Breadtube started to take off quite a bit. I mean, you had, like, Sean's video about it got pretty big. The Fate of the Frogmen video, that was a really good one. That was around when things started to fall apart for them, because up until that point, Lauren Southern and, like, the alt-right had a just flawless construction of radicalization for young people. There wasn't really any large creators speaking out against them. They were being platformed by large mainstream media outlets and were not being called out. Anyone who did call them out either didn't have much of a platform, was already somebody who wasn't taken very seriously, or were just so small in general that their voice couldn't be heard, and they would get dogpiled by, you know, everyone else who disagrees with them, right? Like, there was a time when the most prominent people calling out types like this were Kevin Logan and Christy Winters, who I both hate. I hate both of them, by the way. I should clarify. They're both pieces of shit. But regardless, there was a time when the largest figures calling these people out were them. Kevin Logan and Christy Winters. And it was the start of... It was Charlottesville that began this sort of decline of the popularity of the alt-right in the public eye. And I think Lauren Southern, around the time of the Christchurch shooting, saw that things were really falling apart for the alt-right grift, and she needed to get off that train fast. But now, we got an election coming up. The more Tim Pool, Dave Rubin-esque centrist grift is a little bit more profitable now, and she's trying to jump onto this bandwagon. So, from what I've heard, maybe... I'll admit, I've been a little spoiled. I've heard from Twitter that she's claiming she's like a centrist or a moderate now. I don't believe her. She's probably grifting, but we'll give it a watch.
Many of you had no idea about last year, which is that I was married and pregnant, and I just found out about my son right before the release of Borderless. I've always kept my cards close when it comes to my family because, unfortunately, the modern political coliseum seems to have zero boundaries whatsoever or respect for people's privacy, but I did decide to share a tiny bit this January.
If you're a public figure, you will be doxxed, you'll get harassed, your life will be made public. This is just a simple fact. I thought back when I first became a public figure, that it would be possible for me to conceal my personal life to a degree, but when you've been a public figure for long enough, you basically have to come to terms with the fact that the entire world will be able to know exactly where you live, your full name, the information of your friends and family. It's just the way that kind of information is stored in this climate. That's always going to be public. People want to know what you're doing. Simple as that.
on my Instagram, just because it's something that has brought me so much joy and is such a blessing in these crazy times. It was pretty hard to not at least put a bit of it out there for you. But definitely it was a very special thing for me and an important thing for the first part of my son's life and his birth to be just for myself and just for my family. None of the social media.
Do you think she dyed her hair brown to like to contribute to the centrist thing? Because a lot of her old content back when she was doing the alt-right shit, pushing the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, like a lot of her aesthetic was she is like an Aryan woman, an Aryan European woman who's fighting for her heritage, for her people, you know? And now she's doing the centrist grift instead of the Nazi grift, so she's like dyed her hair brown. She's kind of changing her whole aesthetic. It looks like she just stopped bleaching it, let her roots grow out. That's true. It probably wasn't naturally blonde, was it? That makes sense. Yeah. No, wait, that makes even more sense. Yeah, she didn't dye it brown. She just let it grow out. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can't tell the difference between, like, a natural blonde and someone who bleaches their hair. I really can't. Listen. I'm a dude, okay? I don't fucking know. But how much do you want to bet that when she was, like, doing the Nazi grift, she was dyeing her hair blonde to push that like white Aryan trad wife aesthetic, and now that she's not doing it anymore, she's let her roots grow out. She's going back to the blonde hair. Ah, yeah, that's actually or the brown hair. I said blonde. What the fuck? Her brown hair. She actually isn't actually a centrist. She just says how both sides are mean to her, but she doesn't denounce anything super far right. Yeah, but we'll see the video. I haven't seen it yet, okay? So
yeah, or the world's
no
eyes on
spoilers.
it. That was just for us. Another thing I did was I took some time to get back into education and to nurture a more contemplative part of my soul and my faith, and really recenter what was important in my life, like family, friendships, and community. It is definitely an interesting experiment to take a step back from the internet for at least a few months. See what's left of your life when you take away the social media, the internet fame, and the online tribes you're a part of. Have you built something meaningful outside of that? Is your purpose still there when the screen is off?
Imagine building anything meaningful outside of the internet. What the fuck? What do you mean outside the internet?
There was definitely a point where I don't think I could have said
Couldn't be me.
yes to this, and there are probably far too many people that are Gen Z or millennial like me that have been
Also, hold on, no. Lauren Southern has done things outside the internet, or at least the things she's done on the internet have affected the real world. I mean, she is significantly responsible for a terrorist attack, one of the biggest terrorist attack... Yeah, the biggest terrorist attack in New Zealand's history. I mean, there's that. One of the largest mass shootings of all time outside of America, to my knowledge. On top of that, didn't she get on some boat? Yeah, no. She illegally got on a bunch of boats and tried to stop rescue ships from picking up refugees from, I believe, Syria that were trying to get to France, that were like floating across the ocean. Hey, Mo. I have to give you like some sort of notable rank. Remind me to do that in a little bit. Yeah, Mo in chat, they're New Zealand. They're from New Zealand, so fuck the Christchurch shooter killed my friend's uncle, and he was originally going to attack my hometown. Holy shit. Yeah, so if you're from New Zealand here, then you can probably back this up. That was like one of the biggest, like, that was the biggest terrorist attack in New Zealand history, unless you count, you know, the things that the settlers to New Zealand did to the native people, but we're not going to count that necessarily. Yeah, no, Lauren Southern literally got, like, on a boat and was stopping ships that were going out to rescue possibly drowning refugees. She's built things outside of, you know, she's done things outside the internet.
been in that boat before. Which
Ah! Oh, I'm sorry, that was funny. I'm sorry. That was a good coincidence there. I like that. That felt good.
brings me to another point, and that is family was not the only reason I took a step back, although it was a main one. I had planned to take an extended break from the internet and media for a while anyways, just to get my head out of the fishbowl and observe with a sober view of the world that I was a part of. And to be real with you guys, the world I was a part of, especially earlier on in my YouTube career, was a very unhealthy one. And I mean, to be fair, most of you have probably been on Twitter before, so pointing out the toxicity of political or even just internet culture in general is probably the least shocking thing.
I have to give her this one. It's very true. I was in the same community that Lauren Southern. I was literally a fan of Lauren Southern. I was a follower of hers. I was in that community. I remember how things used to be in those spaces, and she's telling the truth here. Even back when I was part of that community, I felt very miserable and very it was very toxic, to be sure, but it felt like I was willing to look past that toxicity, because despite that, I felt like I was in the right. I had this like niche, I was red pilled, I knew it was really going on. So yeah, I gotta give her that one. She's not lying there. Yeah, despite.
You have heard this year. Wow, the internet is toxic and it's bad for you. Shocking revelation, Lauren. Seriously though, I do want to be clear, actually, that when I'm talking about this toxic culture, especially in politics, I am not talking about regular everyday conservatives or regular liberals. What I am talking about is the forever onliners, the people who have lost themselves to a character or entire personality composed of partisan talking points, the extremists who can no longer see the humanity in their political.
Casual reminder that the Trump administration, everything they stand for, and by extension conservatives, are all objectively evil or stupid, and often both. True! All I can do is hope to survive these days in which bigotry and ignorance rules. God, I'm so tired. Big fucking true. Actually based.
Political opponents, or even just other groups based on race or gender.
There are no good racists, there are no good misogynists, there are no good traitors, there are no good bigots, there are no good lackeys, there are no good Republicans. They traded character for unconditional loyalty to Trump. They all checked out they all checked good at the door. Hashtag vote GOP out. Wait, how is this bad? Wait, does Lauren Southern disagree with these statements? Besides, I guess I mean Republicans is like, she'd probably disagree with this statement here. But other than this, does she disagree with 5 out of these 6 statements?
Leaders of all these movements that are fighting over the last shreds of a dwindling social talking point market, and the cults that have seemingly formed where
she's basically admitted it there. The alt-right grift, specifically the alt-right one, the specific flavor of which Lauren Southern pushed, where they basically pushed Nazism with a very effective wrapping paper of respectability, is dying out. It's just not profitable anymore. It used to be very, very good. It's why Richard Spencer did it. It's why Lauren Southern did it. It's why, I guess you could say Andy Worski kind of did it, though he masked it with comedy rather than respectability, right? These large figures that pushed the Great Replacement conspiracy and whatnot, there's just not money in it anymore. There's no social capital. There's no actual capital in it anymore. The real grift now is to do, like, the pseudo-centrist thing, so that seems to be where she's headed. She's basically admitted it there. It seems she's now embracing Sargonism with Canadian characteristics. Yeah, she like Sargon, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, those types. She's gonna move to like the centrist, but actually just a conservative grift,
everyone views themselves as the hero in the story, whilst anyone on the other side is irredeemable scum. Then, of course, there's just the 24-hour news cycle in general, which seems to make anyone involved just focus in on people's worst moments, their mental breakdowns and bad arguments like a shark searching for blood. This
is, okay, I've got a big problem with this. This statement is true, but where she's going with it is bad, right? The 24-hour news cycle is very unhealthy and is very bad. It's like, for example, you don't hear anything about the BLM protests right now, despite the fact they're raging on as strongly as they ever have on the news anymore, because it's a dead meme now. Nobody cares about it unless there's like a huge thing that happens. Like if a Wendy's burns down, then they'll talk about it again. They center their coverage entirely on what will make them the most money. That's absolutely true. Now the outcome you want to get from that is news companies are companies, they are corporations, they are, driven by capital. They have a monetary incentive. That's why they cover stories the way they do. Lauren Southern is going to say that it's to push an agenda or to rile people up into a certain political belief.
Entered an age where your worst 2 minutes will define you for the rest of your life, because that's what people want to click on. A world void of nuance. One where even serious political debate has just been substituted for partisan sneering and mockery. Argumentum ad cringe, if you will, where we seem to have taken...
I'm going to kill myself. There you go, the whole partisan agenda thing. Who called it out? He don't miss. He don't miss.
In the position that if something can be mocked, that it can't possibly be right, as if human instinct about what's laughable is somehow divinely inspired. This whole mess, this whole just disaster that I was a part of, it is something that I I began realizing in people around me, and then I started to see within myself as well, that I was actively assisting in creating this culture of entertainment and hot take politics.
Lauren Southern radicalized a generation of edgy white boys to the alt-right, and she isn't sorry. She's not sorry that she contributed to, like, the, like, literal terrorist attacks and Nazis and turning people into becoming Nazis. She's not sorry about that. She's sorry that she made political discourse on the internet more coarse and combative and toxic. That's what she's sorry for. Okay.
Politics. So I think it was mid-2018, I decided I wanted to change the way I approached things and do only documentaries instead, a more meaningful deep dive into the issues that I cared about. And I truly loved how this experience went.
The issues she cares about are brown people coming to white European countries. So it seems like from here, she doesn't give a shit about, like, oh, I'm responsible for actual murders and actual deaths and harmful things that happen in the world. I radicalize people into becoming bigots and white nationalists and Nazis. No. She's not upset about that. She doesn't regret that. She regrets that the way in which she contributed to that wasn't professional enough. She regrets doing the whole, Dave or Steven Crowder style debate me lol in public, like the asking random people on the street what they think about feminism. She regrets doing that. She wishes she just made a bunch of documentaries filled with misinformation and deceptively edited footage and bad data and misrepresented statistics from the beginning for radicalizing people into becoming Nazis. That's what she wishes she did.
Instead of some big dramatic closing paragraph to my last documentary, Borderless, concluding the situation one way or the other, we concluded that there were two sides to every story. That perhaps everyone involved...
I mean, hey, listen. We can all agree, though, the way that she's made PJW mauled is pretty funny. She's a Nazi. She's a piece of shit. I mean, we're not, well, it's not like she's gonna be welcomed back into the political space, right? We're gonna push back on her content now. We'll be covering her on stream from time to time, obviously. But we can give her props. I'll give her credit where credit is due. She's really triggered PJW, and it's pretty funny.
Involved was a victim of political and business corruption. That these big polarizing issues are so often far more gray than we realize. That the migrants we sat with in the camps and on the shores of Turkey, that were taking dinghy boats to what they saw and believed was going to be a better life promised to them by traffickers and politicians, that was a human story. A human...
No. I watched that documentary. I did. I sat down and I watched it. Fucking awful. The narrative of the documentary wasn't, oh, these poor refugees and immigrants, they're going off to they're being trafficked off and they're going off to what they think is a better life, but it's really worse. No. The message being pushed by that, because the data and the information that she used was like, it's been exposed. Like, if you want, you can go to, I believe Sean, despite him being Bernie or Bust, has done some really good takedowns, a lot of Lauren Southern's talking points in her documentaries. The narrative behind these documentaries wasn't, oh, these poor immigrants are being tricked and they're in danger, or refugees. It was, these are brown people coming to white European countries. I want to protect my heritage. That is the narrative behind it. God, why do these people have to virtues? I guess she does have to maintain some level of respectability, right, in order to have even the slightest bit of acceptance into political spaces that aren't, literal just Nazi hellholes, She doesn't want to get Milo'd. I think saying what happened to Milo Yiannopoulos, granted she hasn't, she's not like a pedophile like Milo or a pedophile supporter, but, what happened to Milo, how he got, like, ostracized from political spaces, she's got to be careful that doesn't happen to her. So she's still got to do a little bit of, virtue signaling and keep that mask on a little bit.
Human struggle worthy of being told. The same human struggle that I've always recognized amongst people in Europe.
Sean is from the UK. Doesn't matter if he's Bernie or Bust. NER India, I'm really upset that somebody as stupid as you could possibly be in my fan base. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how you could be a fan of mine and actually enjoy my content and be this stupid. Sean is a large creator with a significant amount of people that watch him in the United States. He's a lefty creator, so the majority of people that watch him would otherwise vote lefty, Democrat, and he is tacitly encouraging his following base not to vote against Trump. Just because he's not American and he doesn't get to vote doesn't mean he doesn't have an effect on his audience's vote. Holy shit. Please use your brain next time, buddy. I get really upset when I see my fans being stupid, okay? So, use your brain next time, okay? I love you, buddy. It's okay. Just, I have to, trust me. I say this because I love you, okay? I love all my fans. I love all people.
Fear the loss of their culture and the economic and social impacts to change in their home. Too often in media, it is treated as if these experiences are mutually exclusive. And I used to have this perspective as well, that because the mainstream media or the leftist media was already telling one side of the story, that it was my job to tell the other.
Oh! So, these guys, these are Syrian, I believe Syrian refugees. They might be from Turkey, somewhere from around that area. On like little rafts, trying to go across the fuck, it would be like the Mediterranean Ocean, right? It would be the Mediterranean. Hold on, let me check. Chat. Let me show you guys something. We're gonna look at Google Maps. So generally, what'll happen is we'll go into satellite view. Let's see. So yeah, it would be across here. So a lot of people go from Syria or from Turkey, and they'll try to get to Greece. It's usually to Greece or Italy. I thought it was France. No, yeah, it would be. I guess. I mean, you could get to France, but it's usually Greece. So from my knowledge, it was Syrian refugees trying to get to Greece. Yeah, Greek islands. Yeah, trying to get to Greek islands to escape. I mean, we know what's going on in Syria, right? Do I need to inform you why, if you are just some random person, you may want to get out of Syria? Sea, ocean, sea, whatever. Yeah. Do I need to remind you guys? Yeah, maybe not. All right. Okay. Cringe. Okay.
Side of the story, that it was my job to tell the other. But in reality, it should be everyone's job to show both. And just because you see others not doing it doesn't mean you should partake in a childish tit for tat. Otherwise, you're not going to get the real story at all. You need a full picture in order to come to meaningful insight.
Lauren Southern privated her Great Replacement video, so it's not available anymore. Thoughts? I think there's a chance she's legit. No, I don't believe that. I mean, it's possible she's changed her mind, but if she'd actually changed her mind, she would have pulled a Hunter Avallone. Hunter Avallone's talking about his political journey was way more self-critical and way more genuine than anything that's been said so far. Hunter Avallone has by far, I guess besides maybe my own, the best, like, hey, I've had a bit of a political awakening. My mind has been changed significantly. My old beliefs just weren't backed up by reality, and I have a lot of respect for him for that. I think Lauren Southern privated her video about the Great Replacement because her video was named, well, not after, but before, as the same thing as a terrorist's manifesto. I'm pretty sure it was done for optics. I don't think she I don't think she unlisted or privated it because she doesn't agree with it anymore. What if she can be redeemed like Hunter in the future, though? It depends. So Hunter has always been a genuine person. Hunter was just like, from what I've seen, Hunter was just misinformed and made a lot of like assumptions that were incorrect. And after he was like educated and reasoned into better positions, he changed his mind. Lauren Southern is a demagogue. She's actively engaged in misinformation. She's lied a lot. She cuts things out of context. She engages with misleading data. She's a dishonest actor, and dishonest actors aren't in good faith. They aren't. You can't change their mind. They have a set of beliefs that they're very emotionally attached to, and they use confirmation bias or create evidence that would lead to confirmation bias to back up their worldview. They care about what their worldview is and how it's backed up by their feelings first and facts second, if ever. Hunter seemed like a similar kind of centrist to me. I mean, yeah, but Hunter was genuine. Lauren Southern is not genuine. She's a dishonest actor.
Full conclusions. And this is one of the big reasons that I've decided to come back now. I am seeing absolute chaos going on in the world and very little room for nuance or genuine thoughtful content.
Translation. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And she has got her eye on a new grift.
Our news is getting summed up by spliced Twitter videos made to promote one cause or another, name-calling, doxing, hashtag wars. It's really hard to watch. And I really believe that people are longing for a more sober approach, because the world is a lot more complex than just all cops bad, all cops good, post black square or you're a racist, or black people are all just looters and rioters. I'm not.
Enlightened centrist. We really in it, huh? This is the new grift. This is gonna be the new generation of, it's like a cycle, guys. Holy shit. Do you guys think it'll go back? Do you think it's gonna be a cycle? It'll be like the cycle of reactionary content, and this will happen like every few years, you know? Like, think about it like this, paint stream. Think about it like this, right? So you have, so you start with like, so it's always the start of it is centrism, right? But then you get to like the, then you get to the, I'm just an average conservative. I just like traditional values, right? Then you get to, there's nothing wrong with preserving my culture. And then you get to full on just 1350. This is the cycle. I'm calling it right now. When this cycle gets proven correct, I want everyone to cite this, okay? We're calling it the cycle of reactionary politics, okay? And this is how it's gonna work, okay? Here's how it works. You start out with somebody presenting themselves as an enlightened centrist, like, oh, I'm just looking at both sides of things. I don't think that, you know, that either side is entirely right. I think there's a middle ground we need to meet, a reasonable middle ground. And then, you know, once you kind of get into that, you do the whole, listen, I'm a centrist, but I do like traditional values. I'd say I'm a bit more right-leaning. And then eventually you get to the whole, there's nothing wrong with me wanting to maybe restrict immigration and preserve my heritage and preserve my culture, to eventually like 1350, and of course we gotta add, you know, the parentheses. Oh, can we put like a star? Let me see. Yeah, there we go. That's close enough. And like the star and the parentheses and all that. Full on Nazi, right? And now, assuming my hypothesis is correct, we are headed towards the next, or we are headed back to the beginning of the cycle, the centrist side. So, you know, maybe for a while, centrism is going to continue to be, because Breadtube is so big, and like if you're a blatant Nazi, you'll get called out by like lefty content creators that have gotten a lot more, much more size in this platform and a lot louder voice. And then as Breadtube starts to leave the niche, because it will, like Breadtube's not going to be as popular and as successful as it is now forever. I know, feels bad, man, but it's this will probably be a trend for a few years. Reactionary shit will come back, just like it did back in 2014 to 2016, and then we'll go right back to this again. Like lefty content will get popular again. It's just gonna keep going over and over and over again. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it fucking now. If it happens, if I'm right, if I'm correct about this, I want you guys to bring up this clip. and I want you to make this a historical fucking clip. I'm Nostradamusing this shit right now. I'm predicting it. I know Nostradamus wasn't, like, actually, like, a good predictor or anything like that, but I like saying his name. Alright.
Not some radical centrist here, but I think we all know deep down these massive cultural issues
Radical
have human
centrist.
stories to them, to every side of them. And too often we prefer to just ignore the humanity in the stories that don't quite fit with our narrative. And you know, in my traveling and my on-the-ground work with Borderless, even just life experience over this last year, a big way that I've changed personally, and one of the best things I've learned, is to...
I highly recommend watching a takedown of her Borderless documentary. That documentary has been absolutely torn apart for how dishonest it is. The way it presents data, the way it deceptively edits, the way that it tries to misrepresent stats. I definitely recommend watching some takedowns of her documentaries, especially Borderless, because that's her most recent work.
Approach things with a sense of, I don't know everything. Because none of us do. I think the people...
Except for me, I know everything ever. I've read all theory, I've read every history book, I know everything in the world. I've read all the data, all the studies, all the facts, I know everything that'll ever happen. My opinion is always correct. Just Xander God.
In charge of public discourse in our society too often are expected to be experts in everything. Celebrities, politicians, social commentators...
Oh yeah, Vosh's I've read all theory thing is actually the best response ever. People tell me to read theory all the time, and I say I'll do it eventually. I'm just gonna say I've read all theory already from now on, and that'll get them to fuck off. It's actually a pretty good meme.
We're literally coached to avoid ever saying the phrase, I don't know. You find a way around it, you give a super general answer, or you read the answer your publicist wrote for you. And you better be able to give a smile and a word to every social and political crisis the news pops out that week, or you're a moron, or you're canceled for being silent. And what this has led to is this bizarre culture at the moment where everyone has to take a stance on things, even if they feel completely uneducated on a subject. I have friends of mine posting black squares on their Instagram and messaging me after saying, I have no idea what this means, but I don't want people to hate me. I have other friends of mine enacting in...
Guys, I didn't do the, like, blackout for BLM thing where I, like, made my profile picture a black square. I didn't do that, and I literally didn't get any shit for it. Like, not even Woke Scolds brought that up. Like, the whole, like, blackout your profile picture was, yeah, X'd out. Like, that, like, the little blackout your profile picture thing was something libs did. Because that's, like, the most that liberals are willing to do when it comes to making a statement about this shit on the internet, right? They'll preach some solidarity from Twitter, like, they'll make a tweet about it, they'll change their profile picture to black to virtue signal, but, like, they aren't going to use their platform, like, if they're a large figure, they aren't going to use their platform to, hey, okay, if you guys did it, that's fine. I mean, not everybody needs to go out and march, but that's, like, a liberal, like, virtue signaling thing. I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't believe her story, but... What a fucking liar, dude! What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude! Holy shit, dude! Holy fucking shit, dude! Literally lying! Still lying to her audience! Can someone please fucking enlighten Lauren Southern that she's literally lying to her audience? Holy shit, dude.
Media who have had their publicists or agents force them to make statements through gritted teeth on recent political issues because it's bad for their career if they don't. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter what your cause is to me, even if it's something I'm extremely supportive of, even if it's something super basic that we should all understand and agree on. At no point in a well-functioning society should every single person, every single corporation, every single politician, beauty guru, appliance shop, and even your Xbox feel the need to put out a political statement for fear of the masses taking their silence as betrayal.
I'm sorry. Does she believe that, like... Does she believe that if like these corporations don't like publish like a little like a tweet with a little black box that says we stand with BLM, that they're going to like lose their business or something? Why do these people believe? Do these people actually still believe that the boycott bullshit actually works? Hey, newsflash! Every time like a corporation does the whole haha blackout or does something woke and then the right boycotts them, they end up benefiting from it. Does she still think that's like a thing? They're doing it because it gets them publicity and it makes them money. There is monetary incentive for corporations to put on a facade of wokeness from now on. Trust me, I promise you. They're not doing it at the threat of a negative reaction. They're doing it for the promise of a positive reaction. That positive reaction being good publicity and more money.
And socially or even financially ostracizing and destroying them. Compelled speech just never really ends well. Because what happens when that message isn't so kind? What happens when you create a culture like this and that message becomes one that is violent or oppressive and no one is allowed?
Violent messages, huh, Lauren Southern? Violent messages, huh, Lauren Southern? Okay.
Allowed to question it, and everyone is afraid of speaking up, let alone to even be silent on an issue. It's not like things like this haven't happened in history before. And when people get into lockstep, it is very hard to get them out because no one wants to take that fall. It's creating an extremely dangerous precedent, and I don't want that precedent to ever be set one way or another. And this is why going forward in documentary making, I don't plan to be a part of any political groups. I want to be open to any conclusion when I investigate an issue. We have got
enlightened centrist. We can never really know what Lauren Southern's political views are for real from now on. Jesus, it's hot in my room. My back is sweaty as shit. We can't, like, know 100% what her views are now. What we can guess is based on her content that she'll be putting out in the future. Look at the obvious impression that you're supposed to get from said documentary or said film that she's making. You know, the way that she presents data or the way that she presents a statement or something from the people she interviews. What conclusion are you naturally supposed to come to from the thing that you're watching? We can look at that and probably do a little bit of intuition there to figure out, oh yeah, maybe she's a Nazi now, maybe she's not, don't really know, and figure out where she is. That frame, though, guys, I mean, we're gonna pause it at some funny faces. Like, this isn't even a funny face. Guys, sometimes we'll pause a video on a hilarious face that someone's doing, and that's when it's worth calling out. This is just like her mid-blink saying something, guys. Come on. It's not even that good. Why would you even point it out? Come on. You guys can do better than that. Come on, chat. I'm weird champing at you right now.
way too much egoistic certainty in media, and that's something I really hope to work to pull myself away from. And, you know, I just want to leave it at that with going forward, because I was initially thinking about doing this video where I clarify my beliefs. I explain that I'm not this extremist that people think I am, that I'm just curious for the truth without hate. And I wrote this whole thing explaining it, and then I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, what?
X. I mean, she's significantly responsible for a terrorist attack. I mean, like, the manifesto was named after the political conspiracy that you pushed. Right, you're about as responsible for the Christchurch shooting as Alex Jones is responsible for his fans harassing the family of the Sandy Hook shooting victims, because he claimed that it was a faked thing, that they were crisis actors pushing the globalist agenda. You're about as responsible for that. We should get an X to doubt emote. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get the Xbox X button and then the doubt and doubt next to it and make that an emote.
Why do I care so much about these people that are misrepresenting me? When the kind of growth that I'm pursuing as an individual and as a creator isn't one forced by a crowd of progressives demanding an apology tour and that I change my opinions on videos I've made or they'll ban me and cancel me. Because that's not growth. That's just more appealing to a mob, and it's not real. And I know
oh my god. Is it 2016? Are we really showing footage from 2016 of like a bunch of people peacefully protesting?
That's not
this is a peaceful Are we really showing 2016 footage of like a peaceful protest of like a bunch of women wearing pink pussy hats and then like some dudes mixed in there as well? Like, wait, why is she showing this on screen like it's a bad thing? These are presumably Americans peacefully protesting, practicing their First Amendment right. How is this a bad thing? I'm really interested. A lot of these reactionary types will just show footage of like a protest, whether it be like violent or not, and try to claim that, oh, look at this protest happening. This means that the West is in decline. Something bad is happening here. No, when I see a protest like this, this makes me think, okay, yeah, the pussy hats are pretty cringe. It's some fucking liberal shit. But still, these are a shit ton of people that got off their asses, went outside, and are practicing their First Amendment rights to freedom of expression and freedom to peaceably assemble. Is this supposed to be a bad thing?
That's just more appealing to a mob, and it's not real. And I know people that can chant progressive slogans through gritted teeth to keep their jobs or because their agents told them to do it, and it's just not something I can do. I don't see it. It's not genuine. It's not real, and I think people should know that. I think they should know that a lot of the celebrities and the people they look up to in media and politics and their YouTube heroes that make posts about politics, they don't always believe those things in private. They're doing it because they don't want to be axed or guillotined by the public right now.
There are a lot of political actors that lie about their beliefs. You are 100% Mrs.? I mean, she's married, so it's Miss, right? Wait, chat. Is Mrs. is married, Miss is unmarried, right? I could never get this right. It's Mrs., right? So don't do MR, Mrs. Right? Am I right? Mrs. Okay. Mrs. Southern. Wait, did she keep her last name? She kept her last name, right? Presumably? She kept her last name? That's not very traditional of you, Mrs. Southern. Regardless, Mrs. Southern, there are a lot of people that lie about their political views for the public. A lot of people who do that. And that's why you have to inductively reason their beliefs. You go off of their actions, you go off what they say, the effect they have on the world, and you use that evidence to inductively reason what you believe they believe, right? Because you can never truly know what's going on inside someone's head. This is a basic function of being a political actor in today's climate. Because yes, there are a lot of people that lie about their beliefs and may say one thing through gritted teeth, but in private hold different views.
And I also want to mention that I also don't see the possibility for growth when I'm constricted by the expectations of an online right-wing tribe, that I hold certain beliefs or I'm not a part of them anymore. Because I also have questions and criticisms within the right as well. There are some issues there. I want to just genuinely look at the world, even if it bursts my bubble of what my preconceived notions may have been. So maybe because I've been gone so long and I've kind of made these statements, people will want some sort of statement on where my views are at now. Well, I am growing as a person. I don't know everything and I am excited to learn more. And I want to let my work speak for me going forward. If anything, I'd say I've taken the real life pill. I think people are multidimensional, complex beings, and they are worthy of trying to understand. You can't sum them up in a tweet.
I'm weird champing. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm just weird champing. The real life. Okay.
You found 6 years ago, and you can't sum them up as a race or a gender, which too often polarizing political internet communities try to do. It really sometimes feels like we are just caught up in this massive maelstrom of lies. And I mean, Peterson has mentioned this before too. We need people to start speaking honestly. And a lot of the problems.
Wait, who? Wait, WHO Megalol who? Jordan Peterson's still alive? I thought he died like a year ago.
We're facing could be fixed. We need to stop with the carefully constructed statements to avoid social and political landmines or the chaotic partisan talking points. Anyway.
Lawrence Southern, I completely agree with that. I would love for you to be completely honest about your political opinions from now on. No more of like the dog whistling, no more euphemism, no more having that mask on. Take the mask off, be honest about what you really believe for the public. No fear of canceling. Just as you said, that fear of canceling, the mob, being afraid of the mob, it's bad. Just take the mask off, be honest about what you believe from now on. And I'll be happy with that. If you're really a Nazi, be honest about it. Why not? If you're not, make that obvious. Stop producing alt-right propaganda that supports the Nazi perspective, or at the very least, a white nationalist perspective. I don't know if she's done anything about the Jewish question. I don't know if she's like really bitten down on that yet. But yeah, no, hey, if she's just gonna be honest from now on, I can accept that. Hey, Lonnie. All right, let's go.
I could talk for ages on this subject, but I do want to eventually get to the big ticket item here, and that is that after a year of being away and considering all of this and looking at the absolute state of the world right now, I want to make documentaries again. And I want to make some damn good ones. Because I've seen how valuable it has been for my own life and how valuable...
Oh, fuck, I thought this said Far Lands for a second. I was be like, oh shit, is Lawrence Southern gonna do a Minecraft Let's Play? And she's gonna go to the Far Lands? Oh shit. God damn. Unfortunate. That would be a big upgrade. Just, she comes back and she says, yeah, so basically I'm not a Nazi anymore. I'm gonna do Minecraft Let's Plays now. That would have been a good-ass video. That would have been great.
Valuable it is for so many others. I still to this day get tons of emails telling me how
Farlands are bust with Lauren Southern.
Borderless really changed people's perspectives and how people wish I'd make more content like that. I get your messages. I read them all. I appreciate them. I know I can't always reply, but I do read them all. And genuinely, they really convinced me that I should come back and try to change some of the things in this world instead of being so jaded by media. So coming back into media, I really want to go forward approaching the world with a genuine open mind, open to both the rational and emotional aspects of being.
Chat, you guys are killing me right now. The oldest anarchy server in South Syria. The oldest anarchy country in the Middle East. Okay.
Human. Not facts over feelings, but facts and feelings, because facts help us operate in this world, but love and compassion are what make it worthwhile. We have to show people why the statistics and graphs matter.
Lauren MC.
Rather than commentating with such confidence and zealotry from the stands, I want to enter the arena and give those on the ground a voice. Instead of taking down the straw men, I want to highlight the steel men on both sides, offering the best and brightest to challenge your mind. I don't want to set my eyes on any exact documentary yet, because there are at least a dozen I'm considering. Definitely what's going on in the States is a big one. However, I really want to invite you guys to be a part of the...
Hey chat, whatever her next documentary is, especially if it's about BLM or Antifa or some shit. Mark Hamill, that was Shlivoy Zizek. Schniff. If she does something about BLM or like Antifa or something, you better believe I will be there day fucking 1 covering that shit on stream. We'll do a whole stream of it. It'll be like, if it's like an hour long one, we'll do a fucking multi-part video made from one stream where we cover that shit throughout an entire stream. We'll do it. We'll fucking do it.
The documentary making process as well, helping me narrow down and decide which documentary I'm going to make, seeing how the creation, filming, and editing occurs behind the scenes. Plus, this will really help finance the creation of these documentaries themselves. I often think about how it would be significantly cheaper, less stressful, just doing 4-minute videos, social commentary with my webcam on the latest terrible Vice article that came out. There's definitely no overhead cost, security, flights, hotels, sleepless nights, or getting arrested by the Turkish police or military.
That's not as effective as propaganda, though, to be honest. That when you do that sort of like in front of your webcam content, like what I do now, Pepe, it's definitely not the most effective grift. I mean, I made $5 or like $10. I made $10 so far this stream. I've got 421 viewers. Sitting in front of your camera isn't the best grift. Lauren Southern, on the other hand, what she's doing with like the documentaries and shit, that gets her into the spotlight of mainstream political discussion, right? That gets her into the mainstream. That's a way better grift than this.
Military. Hell, I mean, man, documentaries are stressful. There was one Airbnb we stayed in Spain where we literally had to boil like 4 pots of water for an hour if you wanted to take a bath that week. And that was just how it went.
Cringe.
You know,
Reminds me of whenever I was 10 years old and me and my mom lived in a shitty apartment and our hot water heater broke, so we had to we had to boil water and then pour it into the tub to be able to like clean ourselves with hot water. It was a tough scene.
Be real, it's not easy making documentaries. They are stressful, they are hard work, and there are a lot easier things to do in media. But
they're a lot more profitable and they get a lot more attention than videos doing what I'm doing right now.
It's doing something meaningful. It's not just taking shots from a comfortable studio or living room. It's really exploring what's going on the ground. And that's what makes it worthwhile. So I really do hope some of you consider joining me on that mission. If you'd like, you can go and check out the links below this video and join me on Subscribestar, because I can't really be on Patreon, can I?
Nope! Nope, don't do it. Don't donate to her, donate to me. If you've got... Do not go to Lauren Southern's channel. I know there's simps in chat right now. Do not go to Lauren Southern's channel and donate to her. Give me your money instead. It's a good meme. Okay, so basically, she just went... God, what was this? 16 minutes and 48 seconds? Talking about her political career online and how she plans to change and do things differently, without mentioning that she is at least partially responsible for a terrorist attack. disappointed but not surprised, to say the least. She talked for a long time without really saying anything. That's more or less what I expected from what I heard on Twitter. Well, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, drop a sub, it really helps the channel, and I'll talk to y'all later.